Broom says he has the support of the peloton, despite some riders challenging his return to competitive racing today following an adverse drugs test in September. The UCI president, David Lapatillon, is amongst those who wanted him to be suspended after twice the allowed amount of anti-asthma medicine was found in his system at the Vuelta last year. But there's no rule stopping Froome from riding whilst that's investigated, so he's planning to take part in both the Giro d'Italia and the Tour de France.
I've had so much support from fellow colleagues, fellow riders in the peloton. So I just want to thank all those people for getting in touch and showing their support in that sense. I know I've done nothing wrong. That's my starting point. I know I've done nothing wrong, and there's a process in place for me to be able to demonstrate that, and that's obviously what I intend to do.
Froome's team principal, Sir Dave Brailsford, says he had no hesitation in letting him ride at this week's Ruta del Sol.
Accuse people, but people can have their opinions, but on balance I think this is the right thing to be doing, and we're happy that we're here and ready to race.
Now Liverpool must throw their hearts into tonight's Champions League game in Porto. That's from their manager Jurgen Klopp. He's focusing on tenacity over tactics ahead of their last 16 first leg in Portugal. Full commentary on 5 Live Sport tonight, coverage starting from 6:30. Here's Klopp.
Throwing your heart on the pitch if you want, give everything you have. All that's football, and not about system. Are important, very important, but only to bring the players in their best position. I respect Porto a lot. I know that they are this kind of mixture of football and fight. I like it.
We'll also have updates on Real Madrid against Paris Saint-Germain. British curler Thomas Muirhead says they will be stronger for defeat to gold medal favourites Canada at the Winter Olympics today. The men's team struggled in the early stages. They were 4-1 down. They did fight back, taking the game to its final end, but they went on to lose 6-4. They did win their other game of the day, though. That was against Switzerland, and they're back on the ice tomorrow playing Japan.
You're going to face them at any point. You know, it's a team that you have to expect to go out and play your best, and unfortunately we had a bit of a slow start in that game, but we hit form which is promising. You know, we had a good second half, so we can carry that on tomorrow, and you know, it doesn't matter who's in front of us. We're just looking to play our best against whoever it is, you know, so yeah, just come back fighting again tomorrow.
Well, the women's team won their only game of the day against the Olympic athletes from Russia. They played twice on Thursday against the USA and then China. And a huge worry for Jamaica's women's bobsleigh team, maybe a sequel to Cool Runnings, is in the offing because their historic first participation in the Winter Olympics looks like it could be dramatically cancelled. Their coach Sandra Kyriasis has quit, claiming her job role has been changed, and she says that the team sled belongs to her, so she's planning to take it home immediately.
This is BBC 5 Live on digital, online, smartphone and tablet.
Steve, thank you very much indeed. Tonight it's going to be clear. There'll be winter showers in the north and the west. Tomorrow, a bright and showery day, dry in the southeastern half of England, windy if you're in the north. Here's Michelle.
The M25 anti-clockwise heading towards the Dartford Tunnel. Traffic is still very slow there from Junction 3, the Swanley interchange. It was because of a broken down lorry earlier on the Essex side of the river. And anti-clockwise between Junction 9 Leatherhead and Junction 8 at Reigate, there's a broken down car, one lane closed. And queues back to Junction 10, the Wisley interchange. A full look at the travel at 5:45.
This is BBC 5 Live, available on the BBC iPlayer radio app. 5 Live Drive with Anna Foster and Tony Livesey.
Now, as we told you just after 4 o'clock, we got that news through that talks to restore power sharing in Northern Ireland have broken down today, even though the signs were positive just at the start of the week. And Michelle O'Neill from Sinn Féin has been speaking just in the last few minutes at Stormont.
We've stretched ourselves. We have been involved in detailed and meaningful conversations in terms of trying to move things forward. We did and had an accommodation with the DUP in terms of all the issues which are well known to you all. The DUP failed to close on that deal and on the accommodation which we had found. So the DUP leadership had failed to come forward and close on the issues where we did find an accommodation. So these issues are not going to go away. Myself and Mary Lou McDonald are engaged with both governments and will continue to do that. And over the course of tomorrow, we will set out a more fulsome response in relation to where we go from here. Well, I mean, I can only speculate as to that, but I am very clear clear is that we had an accommodation with the DUP on the issues, and the fact that the DUP leadership failed to close on the accommodation.
Michelle, can you tell us in terms of that accommodation you had with DUP, did you believe you had a standalone in Irish language?
The issues are well rehearsed, and we needed to see an Irish Language Act. We needed to see marriage rights. We needed to see legacy inquest rights. All the issues which are available, rights that are affordable. This is very reasonable. What we're asking for, it's rights for all citizens. It's good government. It's equality. It's respect. It's integrity in government. That's what we set out to achieve. That's what we believe we had an accommodation on the whole range of all of those issues, and the DUP leadership have failed to close on that accommodation.
Here we go. When I said yesterday there will be no free start in Irish Language Act, did you take that as well going back on the deal that you had already?
As I said, and Conor, I think ably addressed this issue yesterday. If the DUP chose to call it something else, well, clearly what we had was an accommodation on all the issues which are well known to everybody. Well, as I said, myself and Mary McDonald are speaking with both governments. These issues are not going to go away. We have to resolve these issues in order to restore these institutions. People want this executive to work, but it has to work for everybody. So we'll have to have that conversation with both governments about where we go from here, and that's the conversation. And I'm happy then to talk tomorrow about where exactly what those next steps look like.
So Sinn Féin's Michelle O'Neill speaking in the last few minutes at Stormont. It's 24 minutes to 6.
Boris Johnson used a speech on Brexit in London to try and unite Leavers and Remainers, saying it's an opportunity for hope, not fear. He also refuted claims by reporters he couldn't reach out to Remainers because he could be seen as a divisive figure.
I think I've always been extremely moderate in my language and loving and caring, and that is my intention. I do think that sometimes the discourse does become a bit polemical, and I think it'd be much better if we could all get together and get behind this project.
Well, Labour's accused him of hypocrisy and urged the government to spell out in detail its vision of how Brexit would work. So, are Remainers and Leavers now united? Will it ever happen? Let's speak to some... Zoe McIntyre's a student from Glasgow who voted Remain. Hello, Zoe.
Hello.
Angus West is here, business owner from Hull, who voted to leave. Hello, Angus.
Hi, Tony. Hi.
Good to speak to you both. Zoe, meet Angus. Angus, meet Zoe.
Hello. Hello there.
Zoe, you, I guess, were the target market today for Boris Johnson. Has he persuaded you to get on board with Brexit?
I mean, he didn't really say anything in the speech other than sort of like empty rhetoric about, we need to unite Remainers and Leavers, but it didn't really go beyond that. It didn't really give me any reassurance that, especially kind of left-wing Leave arguments are being listened to, or not even just left-wing arguments, but people generally, the wider public are being listened to about Brexit, and it's not just a case of listening to the far-right backbenchers. So in that sort of sense, I wasn't really reassured by what he said.
He did try to humanise the process, didn't he? He said in the end...